Smile. Kukakapunim. What a puss. What an adorable puss. That's Yiddish. My grandmother said that so much, the only Yiddish I remember probably.
So, welcome everybody to our weekly town hall meeting with our wonderful Lama Suridas. We are getting set up here. I think everybody's arriving. So without further ado, please, Lama, take the reins.
Thank you, Ben Beers from Berlin. It's a small world, isn't it? One world, all interconnected these days. How are you all on this beautiful spring-like Sunday? Nice to see you. Nice to be you in the sense of interbeing. All well here. I hope the technology is working. It's a little hard for me to see what's going on all the time. Let me know if it's not. Ben or somebody, text me. Thank you. Don't chat me. I'm not looking there. It's too distracting. Good morning, everyone. I had a near-life experience yesterday. It's been a long time. Actually, this could be a good cartoon a therapist is saying to someone, me, why not? Tell me more about your near-life experience. It sounds like we're going in the right direction. Anyway, I want to talk today a little about equanimity, spiritual detachment, non-attachment, equanimity, as we call in Buddhism. One of the four facets of Buddha's love, the four Brahma Viharas, the four boundless enlightened virtues, let's call them, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity or impartiality. Loving kindness, metta, maitri, benevolence, karuna, compassion, feeling with others and being moved to help, compassion. Sympathetic joy, mudita, the orphaned Brahma Vihara, the one we hardly talk about, so hard to translate. Sympathetic joy means cavelling in the virtues or accomplishments, the successes of others. It's the antidote to covetous, jealousy, envy, resentment. Mudita, the orphaned Brahma Vihara, as I call it. We hardly hear about it. We always hear about metta and compassion. So rejoicing or joyfully enjoying, cavelling in the good fortune of others. And fourth, upekkha, equanimity, objectivity, impartiality, spiritual detachment, equanimity, in a word, equal to all. The prayer we use in the Tibetan tradition, like the verse, the loving kindness shloka of loving kindness, may all beings be happy, peaceful, experience freedom and ease, is the loving kindness virtue shloka or verse, shloka in Sanskrit. The one for equanimity that we use, that we say, that we chant, that we reflect on is, and get ready. This is a little challenging to some. I'm not going to elaborate. I don't want to put ideas in your head. Everyone experiences their own karma. Their happiness and sadness does not depend on me. Before the inner lawyer makes an objection, let me make it easier. Although that's it, literally. May all, excuse me. I'm so used to praying it with the may, and all beings experience their own karma, the fruits of their own actions, thoughts, words, and deeds. Their happiness and suffering does not depend entirely upon me. Okay, that will soften it a little bit. Anyway, it's good to think that and repeat that and chant that and reflect on it and how codependent we are, how invested we are in others, how often our mind is on the other side of the net in the tennis court. I hope I'm still on here. Let me know if I'm not. Ben, Kathleen, I see things happening. It's raining and lightning here. Okay, Master. Good. How often we think we're indispensable or we're over responsible. Of course, sometimes we're under responsible and reliable too. But I'm talking now about upeksha, equanimity, and how to cultivate it by taking responsibility for our own thoughts, words, actions, and deeds, intentions. It's enough to say our own heart or mind, ourselves, but to spell it out, our own actions, but it also means our own words, intentions, interpretations, and so on. We're not entirely responsible for anybody else's happiness. They are, and they're not entirely responsible for ours. We are. Happiness, well-being, fill in the blank. So this is a great shloka or verse to reflect on, and it's challenging, but I'll let you ask the questions. This is a short hour-long town hall. We're not here to study or teach Buddhism, but to experience something transformative, to go further, to facilitate the next steps on the spiritual path. That's my goal and intention here, and to get together. I'm offering this. We at the Dzogchen Center here offering this. We started last March during the pandemic as an offering during this time of lockdown, and to turn quarantining and staying home into possibly a little bit more of a spiritual retreat, stepping back from the fray and reflecting on things, going a little deeper. Well, there's less outer things to do. Maybe we could do a little more on the inner level. This is an important time for many of us. Some of my friends in North Carolina even founded it, inspired by Ram Dass decades ago. The Prison Ashram Project, they have many members in prisons around the country and maybe further that I don't know about than the country. The Prison Ashram Project had to turn your solitude into an ashram-like experience, focusing on the spiritual life, going deeper, using your time meaningfully, because time is life, friends. Life is time. Killing time is just deadening ourselves. So cultivating upeksha in Sanskrit, equanimity, remembering everybody has their own karma, their happiness and sadness or well-being, and the opposite doesn't depend on us. Now, that doesn't mean we're not interrelated and somewhat responsible, but it goes along with many other ways of understanding, of taking back the agency oneself, of being responsible for one's own karma, one's own acts, intentions, thoughts, words, and deeds, and the fruits, the results of them. And I'm not going to go on with this Buddhist-like lecture. I know there's all kinds of people here at the town hall and also on Facebook Live that are more spiritual than religious, or just here to learn meditation or to get together in this beloved community sense of the Sangha. One of the meanings of Sangha could be beloved community here in the West. Well, more traditionally, it meant the avowed or the committed Buddhist fold, but that was 2,600 years ago. How we understand community today has evolved and continues to evolve with our need for more inclusiveness and, dare I say, equanimity or evenness towards all, of all colors, of all gender types, and of all species, not just humans, and so on. Cherishing life in all its forms, not just white people. I'm looking around the room here, not just co-religionists, peace-loving Birkenstock wearers, but all beings in the world, even those disagree with us, we can agree to disagree. And all species cherishing life, not just squashing the bug because you see it, with a little mosquito because it's making your arm itch for a moment. One could wish it a good drink and a safe flight home rather than squashing it impulsively, reactively, reflectively, and having a little bit of the karma of killing and the irritated state of mind that goes with it, which has its karmic repercussions. Karma means cause and effect. Karma means conditioning. Karma means action and reaction. It's not mysterious and airy-fairy. Karma is not unknown, even in the Western scriptures and traditions, like what goes around comes around, like as you sow, so you shall reap, as it says in a good book. This is karma. Again, taking responsibility and recognizing that everyone experiences their own karma. Others' happiness and suffering does not depend entirely on oneself. Speaking more personally, when I first heard this, it seems like not that long ago, 1970 or 71, when I started practicing, studying Tibetan Buddhism in Nepal, and then in Darjeeling and so on over the years, decades. When I first heard this, I was 20 and a half years old. I had just graduated college and gone overland to India, and I was in India doing 10-day mindfulness and loving kindness meditation course with Mr. Goenka-ji, the Burmese Indian teacher who set many of the Western Vipassana and insight mindfulness teachers on the path. We were all there at that time. And I heard this from a Tibetan teacher. I'm going to repeat it because this is important, and I want this to be a little takeaway. Of course, you can look it up on the web or wherever you go for your scriptural teachings or research. All beings experience their own karma. Their happiness and suffering does not depend entirely on me. And I thought, my mother's not unhappy because of me? Are you with me? This worked. This had very little to do with my mother. This was about relieving me of carrying the burden on my shoulders like Atlas with the world on his shoulders. And after reflecting on it, and it took a while, be patient with yourself. Like a few years, I realized, oh, my mother's not just unhappy because I'm in India instead of in grad school or getting married and giving her grandchildren. My mother was unhappy before she was married. My mother's unhappy now, and my mother might be unhappy later. Who knows? It's not what happens to us, but what we make of it that makes all the difference. This is why we say everyone experiences their own karma, means their own state of consciousness sort of reproduces itself or conditions how you interpret things and how you experience them. Like whether it's hot right now or cold where you are. Somebody else sitting next to you might be saying, close the window, and you're saying, open the window, like couples so often do. Or as my wife and I, we went to the mattress store for a queen size bed or something. And the mattress salesperson said, how do you like your mattresses? And at the same time, I said, soft. She said, hard. Isn't that the way of all things? It's so subjective. Thus, in the bigger picture, cultivating equanimity, evenness, objectivity, as well as discerning and discriminating virtue from vice, and every kind of the myriad distinctions in this multiverse, in this multi-dimensional universe of ours, outer and inner, phenomena and noumena, mind stuff, the animate world as well as the inanimate world, all things, and recognizing the unity and diversity. So in Dzogchen, in Mahamudra, in the non-dual penthouse teachings, the higher teachings, the tantric teachings, the non-dual teachings, to be precise, of Mahamudra and Dzogchen and Tibetan tradition, we find the juicy term, one taste, and it is juicy. Quoting from Buddha himself, Buddha said, my beautiful Dharma, or my wholesome, liberating Dharma. There are many ways of translating this. Sudharma, noble Dharma, liberating Dharma, beautiful Dharma, has a single savor, as all the oceans have the single savor of salt. This beautiful Dharma, liberating Dharma, has the single savor of liberation and enlightenment. That's one taste. And then within that, recognizing the multiplicity with this developing discrimination and discernment. So one taste is like the great equanimity, equal to all. Not condoning harmful acts, not failing to recognize the difference between poison and medicine or just healthy food. That would be stupid. That would be foolish. That's not wisdom. Wisdom is a higher form of sanity, if anything. But one taste equal to all. And one could see how this could filter down or benefit all of one's relations. And further, our need today for certain kind of discriminated against lives to matter. Our need today for inclusivity, our need today for going beyond the either or man and woman dichotomies that Aristotelian logic imposed on us and that Judeo-Christianity and Islam have imposed on us in the West over the millennia. In the East, things are more cyclical, and the yin-yang symbol more obtains, and things are not exactly so either or. It also includes both and neither. But I'm not going to go into all that. I've talked about that before, all that Buddhology, all that Buddhist theology and philosophy. So cultivating, as always, here in the practicing lineage, cultivating, practicing this beautiful, liberating Dharma with its single savor of freedom and liberation. Thinking, reflecting on, questioning even all beings experience their own karma. Their happiness and suffering does not depend on me. Of course, you can make somebody suffer, but how much they suffer has a lot to do with them, not just you. Of course, you can make somebody happy temporarily or seem to, but for how long? That depends on them and their karma, their conditioning, their nature and nurture. Karma includes both nature and nurture. It's not that mysterious or airy-fairy, though it is hard to understand exactly every cause and effect. You know, what caused this pandemic? Do we just blame some country where maybe it came from? But what caused it to start in this country? I remember hearing more about the, what was it called? I even read a book called The Hot Zone about the Ebola virus. So there was more years to learn about that than there has been now with the pandemic and research and science advancement. And they say, oh, Ebola came out of the jungle and it came from, I can't, you know, this might be true, a bat, who's bat dropping, you know, a monkey or somebody ate and the monkey, you know, something to the animals and to the humans. That's all well and good. But how do we understand in this universe of cause and effect why bad things happen to good people? Or even if we're of this bent of mind, why the hell do good things happen to bad people? That's not how I think, but that's the corollary of why bad things happen to good people. It's hard to discern the causes, all deep multiplicity of causes, or why one has some dread disease. One might get lung cancer, as my late wife did, even though she was never a smoker. Well, cancer is no respecter of these ideas or boundaries. And karma concerns all of the myriad factors of nature and nurture. So the best we can do is live according to the universal principles that what goes around comes around, and do good, be good, we get good. We get good at things. Who can argue with that? Although, as they say, no matter how much health food you eat, you might get hit by a truck crossing the street. Of course, if you're mindful, it might help, not just what you eat. But if an asteroid hits the planet, it's hard to say that mindfulness is help any of us unless we know how to sidestep the asteroid, you know, as a herd. If we have herd immunity for asteroids, that would be good, but mindfulness ain't going to do it. Maybe science will, I don't know. So one taste is the Dzogchen and Mahamudra view of equanimity, upeksha, in the original Buddhist languages. Not just cold, indifferent detachment, but cool spiritual detachment. My favorite example is the grandparents who are more detached from the children's daring do than the parents who are still invested in parenting and not as experienced and haven't gone through it all. But the grandparents still have the love and attention and care, but less attached. So that's an example of healthy detachment, Of course, if the children hurt themselves, the parents rush them to the hospital or wherever it needs to happen. So I'm going to repeat again as a little exercise. Let's reflect on this. Everyone has their own karma or experiences their own karma. Their happiness and sadness does not depend on me. Their happiness and sadness does not depend entirely on me. As a codependent, I find that a great relief and release, which is the single savor of Dharma, freedom and liberation, an ultimate and practical moment-to-moment level. That's why we practice letting go, letting things come and go, letting be. Equanimity, non-attachment, the bigger view, aware of whatever happens without interfering or manipulating, while we're cultivating this kind of awareness with a capital A plus in meditation. And then in post-meditation in life, attending to each encounter, each cause, effect, relationship, attending to each thing with the attention, with the priorities, with the decisioning that it needs. Not falling into the, what should we call it, nihilism of thinking that it's all the same. Unless you're ready to just, die when you cross the street with your family. If it's the same to you, then you need to be locked up in the nut house. It's not the same to everybody at that level, including the others around you. I can't make this point enough. Non-attachment does not mean indifference and complacence. So once I realized, and to keep this personal and also practical for you, how you can apply it in your life, I guess I've become a teacher in my old age and middle age. It took me a while to realize that your happiness and sadness or well-being didn't depend on me. Holy crap. What a relief. Really? Think about it, parents. Do your children's happiness and sadness and wellness really depend on you entirely? Come on. What about the other parent? What about the aunts, uncles, cousins, families, siblings? What about the neighbors? What about the teachers? There's a myriad factors. So we do the best individually as parents and let go. Whatever happens, happens. There's so many factors. They may be dependents, but they don't depend entirely and irrevocably on us, although we may be the primary for quite a while, or always, who knows. So now let's go into the more non-conceptual meditation. We've contemplated, we've meditated, we've analyzed and reflected on equanimity, one of the four Brahma Viharas, the four boundless virtues, the four heartitudes, as I call it, the four faces of Buddha's love, represented by the four arms of Avalokiteshvara, Chenrezi, Tibetan iconography. Loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, equal to all, including all. Now more non-conceptually, just enjoying, just sitting, just breathing, just being, let's say, together to warm it up, co-meditating, intermeditating, interbeing, just being with a capital B plus. He, no I. Just keeping myself going here, just like you, whatever it takes. Natural body, Buddha body, natural breath, Buddha breath and energy, natural mind, Buddha mind, natural state, or whatever state you're in, that will have to do. Just dig it, grok it, enjoy it, take it in. You don't even have to make it part of yourself. It's part of you already. It's coming out of you, not just in, as if from outside. Our karmic perceptions are part of it. It's a big part of our karma, of our experience. Let's get our hands on the steering wheel of our life. Not think somebody else is pulling the strings from above or from behind or in the past. No. Assume your Buddha seat. Who do you think you're not? Sitting Buddha is being Buddha, as Suzuki Roshi, the great Zen master, said. He weren't joking. He spoke pidgin English, but that was the point. He didn't have to explain the 84,000 Buddha Dharma teachings. Sitting Zazen or sitting Buddha is being Buddha. That's enough. Sitting Zazen, sitting meditation, being Buddha. Yes. Being Zen. This is your Zen right now. Don't be fooled. It ain't in Japan or China. If it ain't here, it's nowhere. Since it is here, it's everywhere. Dig it. Imaho. Enjoy the joy of natural meditation. Natural body, natural breath and energy, natural mind. Recognizing the great equality or evenness of all things. I don't want to say witnessing. Some people call it witnessing. That's a little dualistic or separate for me, but why not? Make the backward step. Just witness the entire accident, the entire great spectacle. What did Zorba call it? The entire great catastrophe that is my life. Pretty Buddhist. Zorba, the Earl of Dukkha. Zorba, the Buddha. How tantric. It's all part of it. That's the great one taste, the single savor of liberation, the beauty of it all. Letting go, letting things come and go in this present moment, arising and dissolving in the field of consciousness, body consciousness, emotion consciousness, mind consciousness. Not suppressing thoughts, just watching them come and go like clouds or the infinite sky, like big mind, Buddha mind, the big picture, the big view, Mahamudra, the ultimate perspective, Dzogchen, the innate great perfection, Imaho, wondrous, amazing, Eureka, hallelujah, amen. And enjoy the joy of being Buddha, meditation. Truths of many. Truths are many, friends. Truth is one, as 'tis said. One taste. Yoga means unity, inseparability, oneness. Tantra means interwoven. Oneness beyond duality, beyond the dualism of two or one or noneness. Inconceivable. Just let it be as it is. The natural state, the natural flow, things just as they is. Imaho. Enjoy the joy of simplest meditation. Just being incandescently present, aware, lucid, luminous. Imaho. Say ah for Dr. Das. Ah, go gaga. Forget everything. Forget your self-improvement and enlightenment program. Ah, with a big out breath in this sense, who or what is present. Plumb that bottomless abyss of luminous, senseless openness, the animating principle. Pure consciousness, if you like, if you need a word. Just being, not a being, not being someone, just being. Open your eyes, open your mouth. Ah, with the Dzogchen. Ah, big out breath, releasing everything. Ah, emptying yourself out. Ah, the emptier I am, the more room for the Lord, Lord Buddha. Ah, if you must. The five ahs of Dzogchen, sky yoga practice, mingling mind and the infinite. Sky yoga. Sky space union. Dissolving. The breath returns to the air, as the dying doctor said. The breath returns to the air. The bubble returns to the sea from which it's never been a part. Oh, bubbleheads. Beloved bubbleheads. Bubbleheads of the world, unite. Throw off your separateness. Eyes open, ears open, nose open, mouth open, throat open, diaphragm open, released, decontracted, anus open, relaxed, heart, mind totally open, at ease, relaxed, au natural, organic, yes, without additives, without the preservative known as attachment and fixation. No preservative needed. This organic, beautiful being, beautiful Dharma, beautiful Buddha, beautiful being, beyond names and labels, beyond beauty and ugly, gorgeous, delightful, miraculous, inconceivable. Yes, yes, yes. American Buddhists and Bodhisattvas awaken, throw off your chains, your hang-ups and fixations. Open to one and all equally. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Padme Hum. This is the Dalai Lama's mantra, the Karmapa's mantra. They're both considered reincarnations of the Buddha of love and compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mami Premi Hum. Om Mani Padme 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 Hum. May all beings be happy and experience comfort, safety, and ease. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. May there be peace in this world. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And an end to pandemics and natural disasters, or at least may we be better prepared for them. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Oh no, I'm caught in a tape loop. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Love to one and all. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Compassion for all who suffer and be moved to help. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. May all be liberated, awakened, purified, transformed, and free. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. May the world be healed and whole again, the environment and all who sail on it. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Love to one and all equally. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Good Sabbath, children of God. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Imaho, help yourself. Noble scions of Buddha. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Love to one and all. Love unconditional. Divine. Flowing freely. Breathing it out, breathing it in almost simultaneously. Om Mani Padme Hum. Like a pulsar star. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme, inexhaustible, radiant, centered, complete. Om Mani Padme Hum. Uninhibited, spontaneous, not holding back. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. That's another form of non-attachment. Letting go, holding on, not holding back. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Oman Pema Hung to one and all. Ben, Pete, could somebody put up a prayer on the whiteboard? Kempo's dedication prayer or the Drukchen Rinpoche prayer, something that we can all chant together in our places with voice or mental prayer. Say it together. I'll say it aloud from our Dzogchen Center prayer book. Thank you. Translated from Tibetan by Noshe Ken Rinpoche. Through the merit of this virtuous practice and our sterling intentions, may the beautiful light of the Buddha's precious teaching remain for ages and aeons to come, the basis for every single kind of benefit and happiness. That means worldly and spiritual. May all the supreme holders of these liberating teachings who uphold its living truth accept, agree, be able to live on, and their lotus feet stand firm in this Saha world, this bubble-like, tenuous, impermanent world. And so may the sun of altruism and well-being in all its blazing splendor shine the brilliant light of the study and practice of Buddha Dharma throughout every corner of the universe. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want the need the same as we do, may all be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. Imaho. May there be peace and harmony in this world and an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, to pandemics, famines, droughts, earthquakes, all kinds of natural disasters. May we all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. May we better prepare ourselves for the natural calamities that may befall us in this uncertain world and in our mortal frame. And may we all together complete this gorgeous, heart-warming spiritual journey. One beloved community, one circle, one family, one Sangha, one satsang, one all the way Om.
My dear Lama, we have a couple questions for you.
Very good. Thank
Val-
you.
Valerie says,
I love questions. I'm not the answer man. I'm more the question man. Go ahead.
Valerie says,
Let's contemplate, ponder them together.
I'd like to hear some wisdom on the nasty little creature called guilt as it relates to karma.
Right. Guilt. Well, I hinted at that before in my personal story about feeling overly responsible for whatever happiness or, let's say, unhappiness my mom may have experienced. For example, things that seem to have to do with me, like how I was doing when I was a kid in school, or how, going to India and staying on the other side, her oldest child and first son and everything, of a Jewish family with a certain amount of, dare I say, a lot of expectations, going and living as my mother likes to say, and my aunt said, You, Jeffrey, your mom got 10 years of gray hair for every year you were over there in India contemplating your navel. That's guilt being laid on, but you don't have to take that gift. You could just hear it as amusing, interesting, and a little exaggerated. But the point was, my aunt also missed me, as did my mom. So there's love in that statement, and one could hear that too, not just react from an immature, let's say, age or state of consciousness, like, oh God, I never should, with regret and guilt and shame and make yourself unhappy. So guilt is extra. Unless you've committed a crime, then guilty is charged. That's like a more literal meaning. But the extra baggage that we carry on about guilt may or may not be necessary. That's kind of up to oneself, isn't it? Of course, nature and nurture, how much we're conditioned to, how we were raised. I'm not a Catholic, except with a small C in sense of universal. But some of my friends who are recovering Catholics tell me there was a lot of guilt from the fire and brimstone preachers in their upbringing, and so they ran away. But they still eventually felt some need for spiritual life, so they're looking for spiritual development and practice. But guilt didn't help them, and they still feel guilty about that even. So it's complicated, and people talk about it in therapy and work on it. I think if you want to start again, I'll say nowness awareness is the ultimate therapy. It's the ultimate freedom. In nowness, there's no past karma to be guilty about or regret, and there's no future to worry about or plan for. Of course, when it's time to plan your college fund for your kids, that's the time for planning. But planning takes place in the present. It's a function of nowness awareness. Don't be fooled. So guilt is extra. And in Buddhism, guilt and shame are not very much emphasized. In Buddhism, there is no fixed heaven or hell or separate God. We think of it as higher or lower states of consciousness, like hellacious states of consciousness, like extreme psychosis, addiction, and so on. And all of this is karmic, it's conditioning, and it can be reconditioned and deconditioned. So that's how we work on our guilt. In fact, in Tibetan Buddhism, as well as in monastic Buddhism, there's a ritual like in monastic Buddhism in the monastery. Every new moon and full moon, we had a sort of confession / acknowledgement ceremony where everybody shares their downfalls. Let's use that word. We don't use the word sin. We're not about guilt. We air our peccadillos and downfalls. So it's like opening the closets and letting the skeletons in our closet have some air and some light. And the light of awareness and truth and honesty can be quite curative. Denial, hiding, avoiding not so curative, not so helpful. So guilt and shame are not a big part of this way of thinking. Reconditioning and deconditioning and working on it is the way.
Lama, we're going to end there.
Thank you.
You're
That's a
having
profound
some
question. I hope you'll work on it yourself. That little nasty bug that's bugging you of guilt. Do we have enough time for another question?
No,
Ben,
Lama,
come
you're
on.
having
Give me a
some
good
technical
one.
difficulties. Lama,
That's
you're
good
having
for
some
everyone to listen, think about.
Lama, can you hear me? Okay, we can't hear you anymore. I mean, you have technical difficulties. We're going to log off now, folks. Thank you so much for being here. We do hope that you can join us on May 1st for our one-day retreat. Love to have you with us next Saturday. We'll have these technical difficulties fixed by then. Thank you very much for being here today and have a wonderful Sunday. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lama. Thank you, everyone.
Shut it down, Ben.